I've not been sure how to start this one, if I'm honest. For the last 2 weeks, I've been on term break from my library diploma, and I had these grand plans to vlog it all in real time. I made this big list of things I was looking forward to doing, and I have been working my way through them, but it's been more of a case of like feeling gross, but doing it anyway. Hey. Each time I feel myself speaking, it never felt quite like something I wanted to share. Like, I appreciate my favorite YouTubers being vulnerable as much as the next person, truly, but I also need my own boundaries, like when talking about my own experiences sometimes, and especially when it comes to health related stuff. I've like genuinely spent these 2 weeks, I think, mentally catching up with myself. I spent a lot of time piecing together some new like gut symptoms I've been experiencing, and I've had also like the usual prankiness around how time off like often looks really different when your energy levels, health and social batteries are calibrated like really differently to begin with. But having a bit more of a plan in place for that now has like made a real difference to my headspace. Food like has felt more complicated lately, honestly, and I've been reminded of the importance of having backup outlets and interests. During other gut flare-ups, those first aid hobbies have been gardening and crafts, but in this season of my life, you know it's been sewing through and through, baby. I've been slowly customizing more pieces in my wardrobe in ways that'll hopefully make me want to wear them more. I've turned some striped tops into cute vests I can layer, and I've been adding applique details to some pants I didn't really reach for. That's been really cool. My confidence for sewing stretchy fabrics has really grown, thanks to Linda Lee's Ultimate Guide to Sewing Knit Fabrics class on Craftsy, who is the sponsor of this video. Sewing stretchy fabrics has been a humbling learning curve, one I'm happy to be on, but I really do want to start making things that are actually wearable sooner or later, and Linda's class really helped clarify stretch fabric sewing techniques. I've struggled to find information on stretch fabric anywhere else that is this specific and is skills not project based, and gives all those little caveats that others just seem to gloss over but make all the difference. Another technique that's been on my wish list to master is reverse applique, and Applique Your Knits with Machine Embroidery by Lisa Archer helped show me it's actually so doable and within my skill set. When I'm serious about a special interest, I feel quite protective about my relationship to that thing, being intentional about what new information I take on about it and what skills I want to learn next. Craftsy has been great for that, for learning the new skills I want to learn step by step with their award-winning instructors who explain things clearly and comprehensively so I don't get overwhelmed. Craftsy is an online community for makers and DIYers who want to engage deeper with their creative outlets, get fresh inspiration and learn new skills. With over 2,000 classes in different categories like sewing, baking and writing, Craftsy is your online resource for all things creative, and the first 1,000 viewers watching this video who scan the QR code on the screen or use the link in the description will get their first full year of Craftsy Premium for only $1.49. This offer is valid for new members only. Thank you, Craftsy, for sponsoring this video. Goodness gracious, those are the best hot cross buns I've ever made. I made them a bit smaller than usual because gluten-free baking is generally more filling. Also put way more chocolate chips in them, and it's the orange and chocolate hot cross bun recipe from I Want Dopamine for Dinner, but I also added nutmeg. That's really nice. Hello everyone. Nice to be back for another weekly vlog. I'm feeling quite good. I don't have a uni break as such, but I have 2 weeks until the next term starts and just one assignment to do in that time. And this could just be me like desperately clutching for a positive take, but I'm thinking like just having like one little pinky in uni during this time might bode me well because I can like keep that muscle alive a little bit while more heavily balancing other stuff. Clarification, I keep saying uni and I think most people do, but I'm doing a diploma which is run by a TAFE institution in Australia. Take that if it means something to you, and just forget about it if you're from overseas. As one does when they approach like some holidays, I've been thinking of all the things I want to do, but also like, hold up Phoebe, like let's not set the expectations and to-do list too high so it just feels like work. And anyway, just wondering how best to approach it. And I think I'm going to make like a little curriculum, which maybe is just a rebranded to-do list, but just write down some things in different categories. So at least I know at the end of it, I've like done something in all the buckets that like I want to give more time and energy to in this 2 weeks. I recently started a new journal and I've prepped a cute little page. I know some of the areas I want to dedicate time to are recipe testing, sewing, crafts, like general getting my life in order. Oh, and content. I want to make some good short form that I can release incrementally. This feels very interesting because I have really changed my relationship to being busy. Like, speaking of autistic burnout, like I was in the last video, during that time I was so unsure of how my battery worked, I think is the best way to put it. And I was pretty phobic of being busy because I felt exhausted from like doing anything. And I don't think that busyness was the problem. It was like, no, the baseline of all this burnout, depression, everything that you're experiencing is what's making everything hard. And I am like the first person to be wary of busyness and advocate like slow rest, gentle times. However, since uni has taken up so much time and energy and I've had less time to dedicate to other creative things and outlets, I do know that after these 2 weeks, if I have spent some time in those areas, then I will feel better. And so I'm like, yeah, I think I do want to absolutely not overschedule myself, but remind myself like it is worth pushing through the task switching challenges because that can be a bit brutal. But when it's task switching between lots of things I want to do, that helps, and I'll have time for a rest too. I just think it's worth reminding myself of that. Yay, that was simple. I finished my list. I didn't go overboard. I mainly just wanted to capture all the little things that have been bouncing around my brain on one page. I think with these sorts of things, it's good to be on the conservative underestimating side, so there's room for creative freedom. I had life admin, content, creativity and sewing, recipe testing and outings. Now that I'm looking at the life admin, I think I could do all of them in a morning, easy peasy. I'm happy that it looks quite achievable. Health-wise, I'm also feeling a lot better today. Feels like for the whole of March, and this hasn't completely gone away, but I've been having really bad hay fever, and a couple of Saturdays it's been so bad, the day's just been a write-off. Like, I'm not really sure exactly what it's been, but I've taken the flowering African violets out of my room. That seems to have helped. I did quite a deep clean and dust of my room, and I bought an air purifier, which is something I've been considering and wanting for a while. It's only been like 48 hours, but already we're getting on great, and I don't really have that many PowerPoints in my room, so I'm glad I figured out a spot that I think makes sense for her. I'm also loving that it doubles as a white noise machine because I love me some white noise. The more the merrier at night. And my ceiling fan, which I got maybe a year ago now, which has been great, it's wonderful and I prefer it to a stand fan, you know, but it's not as noisy. And I kind of love the noise for the white noise, so now I've got a bit more. I just finished sewing this vest, which was a jumper. The ends would not stop curling, so I did a little bit of like bias tape. It's not very good, but altogether now, I did learn a lot. It's currently Easter Sunday. I have really bad hay fever, but I have some garlic chive dumplings prepped, so I'm excited to make them for lunch. And it just twigged that not everywhere is shut today. It's Good Friday that places are shut. So I might get a few more jobbies done. I've been going through my cupboards, chucking a lot of things out, looking up where I can recycle some e-waste. Anyway, I might pop out and get a couple of tubs for storage solutions. I don't love these kind of holidays, so I'm okay with keeping myself a bit distracted. I was just replying to your comments and someone asked a really good question on my accommodations video asking about balancing masking and not masking. They asked, in what situations do you mask and how do you evaluate if it's worth it? I'm trying to figure out this balance myself at the moment. And it got me thinking. I actually was catching up with a friend yesterday and they described masking a dial, like volume, like you turn it up and you turn it down. And I was like, yes, because the on-off switch kind of metaphor doesn't match my experience at all. Like masking is always there. And I don't know if any late diagnosed person knows how to like turn it off completely. I know I can recognize when I'm so unmasked, when I'm really happy or really sad. But yeah, in terms of evaluating if it's worth it, I don't know if I have a comprehensive answer, but one concrete thing I know is that I certainly find it's always worth it in situations where I'm in a caring role for someone I want to show care to. So when I've done nannying, babysitting, I've wanted to show up as the person they deserve, like a really responsible on adult that is there for them. But then also there's a side with babysitting and nannying which is very unmasked, which I think is why a lot of neurodivergent people, I don't know, find it sustainable and like actually doesn't drain them as much as other work. These are very specific examples, but I never regret it when I mask with my grandmother who has quite severe dementia and she doesn't have the biggest social battery either, so I'm never having to use it for that long, but I am very masked around her. I'm the obvious adult in the dynamic and I take on this quite sweet like Miss Honey persona because if she's awake and able to engage with me, then I don't know where she is in her timeline, but you know, it's like closer to girlhood. And anyway, me masking and meeting that person, it's like the way we can connect the most and I feel closest to her. I feel like we both can get the most out of that interaction. I think knowing when you feel like it will be worthwhile to mask relates to your values. Like this morning, saw a little dog nearly get run over. I didn't really hesitate to check in with the older gentleman who the dog belonged to check if he was okay, like needed any help, and I felt really good for having done that, whereas I'm usually in my own world, like not in a chatty mood when I'm on walks. I think it's been like a balance of thinking about the person I want to be and how much masking I can do in service of that is not to the detriment of my own energy levels and like sustainable existence, sense of self. I feel like people in the comments will be much more articulate on this topic than I have been. Maybe it's because I grew up a lot more around older people that I do find it hardest to mask in situations where I'm around people my own age. So I find it pretty easy to mask around older people and children. And like at the toy library, doing customer service doesn't feel as draining as like customer service is because it's for like the development of young people. But it probably does have to do with like knowing the reason why you're doing it and autistic minds being quite logical. I'm about to go do a scary thing and ask a public library whether they'll take a library student on placement, which is what we have to do. Well, you have to do it if, like me, you can't do it full-time, which it seems they would prefer. Love chatting about your health problems to strangers, but I'm actually pretty, like, mentally prepared, so I think this should be fine. Well, that went fine. I got my reserves, this book, this book, this book. But I'll just do an imitation of the lady's facial expression. Oh, I'll pass on your details. So, vote of confidence was low, but I also know that my local library branch are probably the most, like, I don't know, not forthcoming with doing placements, cagey. So maybe while I'm feeling confident, I'll go to another library group and ask. Any branch is friendlier than my local one. Lol. My uni's like, go to your local one and ask them because they will probably know you and will be most receptive to being flexible. Like you being able to do it 4 days a week instead of 5 days a week. It's like, literally go to one in the next suburb, different council that I've never been to before. The friendliest gentleman ever. Anyway, got a phone number to ring on Monday. Yay. was tidying up this week, I found my old glasses, which I don't need now because eyeballs can like grow into alignment or something, my optometrist explained. Anyway, but I'm kind of howling internally because these are so like in now, like very preppy, not wearing the best jumper to explain the look, but the self-consciousness that these filled me with whipping these out at school meant I rarely did. I wore them at home. But yeah, I'll keep them for something. It's Saturday and the next term starts on Monday, although I'm exam supervising all day. I'm not going to like go through my list point by point, but you can see I've coloured a lot of it in. Done like 90%. That's awesome. Haven't been feeling great, but I've done the things anyway. I don't think I showed you. I made this receipt drop box out of a old tissue box in my quest to be more organised. I also finally approached an accountant this week, which is scary. Haven't chatted to them in person yet, but there was an internal hurdle that I overcame in taking the first step. I wouldn't say this uni break has been the most smooth sailing, but I'm proud of how I've carried myself through it. I do feel a little bit like I'm coming out of a slump, or for sure like I was having a little bit of a crisis of confidence, which I think is just this time of year. Like it peaks in spring, summer. Just deal with it, Phoebe. But it's not as bad as it was a few weeks ago. I'm feeling very aware of how hard ADHD makes a lot of things at the moment. And I know my experience of ADHD and how much I feel it impacts me ebbs and flows, or just how much I'm aware of it. But sometimes it really is really, really hard mode.